So researchers in China have created the first genetically modified dogs through gene editing. This is crazy. They manipulated the DNA of beagles as embryos so that the gene myostatin, did not take effect, thereby creating beagles that were twice as muscular as regular beagles.
Okay.
Now, you can't tell too much here what the differences are because these two guys are the ones that have the genetically manipulated genes. But let's take a look at some of the other photographs with the manipulation. So on the left-hand side, you see the natural myostatin gene. On the second B column, you see one copy of the mutant gene. And in the C column, you see two copies of the mutant gene.
Wow,
So
Jesus.
gross.
Yeah.
So why are they doing this, do you think?
So this is a great question. They're doing it because they are hoping. Ooh, yeah.
Damn.
So this is what's this is actually a naturally occurring phenomenon. This is a natural whippet. So when these dogs get the mutation, this is what happens.
You know what? That dog needs to be photoshopped. I'm sorry.
That dog.
Okay, that's funny.
That dog wants to be governors.
Okay, so let me break it down a little bit more.
Please.
Okay, so first off, as Lissette just said, this does happen in nature from time to time, and it even happens for whole species. There's the Belgian blue cows, and they naturally have twice the muscle, right? So if you manipulate that gene or you edit that gene, and sometimes, of course, by natural selection, some genes get edited, and
That's how it works normally.
that's right,
Yes.
and that's totally normal, right? And so for the Belgian blue cows, that's stuck, and they're incredibly muscular cows, which is great for business because then you'll get more steak out of them, literally, and apparently the steak from them is good. That's what I read. Now, people, and then as Lissette just pointed out, sometimes it happens with these dogs naturally. But in this case, it's not natural. They're doing it on purpose. They're taking the gene out, or they're editing the gene right from the get-go to create a whole new breed. Now, before you get all up in arms, understand that we breed dogs all the time. So you could have bred this dog to be like this, but the scientists
It would have
say,
taken a long time.
yeah, it just would have taken decades to do it through breeding. Instead, they just go in there, boop, edit the gene, boom, we're done with decades of work. I got a new line of dog, and he's pretty badass, right? Now, before you get to thinking that it's no problem at all, well, they did it on the beagles because the beagles are the most similar to humans.
Yep.
So the Chinese are experimenting. They did this with pigs as well, and they've got the super buff pigs. Sounds kind of ironic. Okay. So you got the buff pigs. Now they moved up to the dogs that are most similar to humans.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're going to move up to next.
Yeah, they're hoping to explore diseases like Parkinson's disease on these dogs. So they're really they're to experiment potential drugs for humans.
So that is the upside of this, and that's why we love science. And yes, I'm sure that they will do those experiments, and I hope to God that they are effective and we learn a lot from them. And that's why editing genes could be really interesting and helpful for humans.
And yet,
but if you think they're not going to make superhumans and they're just going to leave it at curing Parkinson's, you're crazy.
Every technology is neutral. It's what you do with it.
That's right.
So it's like, is this really, as a species, what we want to be doing? When are we having this conversation as a global conversation about what are we doing with technology and how far are we going to let it go? Because the consequences of things like that, we can't even imagine what they possibly might be.
Right.
And there's a reason why in evolution, for most of these species, that gene didn't
work.
Didn't work. The reason is
so what's the unintended thing that's going to happen?
Right. So we already know it with the buff pigs. Okay.
Right.
So what wound up happening is they live a little shorter than the other pigs do that don't have the mutation or that didn't have their genes edited in that case. Plus, they have difficulty giving childbirth because their body's not built for that. And so it winds up causing significant problems in those pigs in childbirth. That's why that evolution didn't, quote unquote, work, to put it simplistically, right?
Nonetheless, we're making designer pets even today, and some people are buying them simply for their pleasure, right? So we know that in China, for example, some companies are manufacturing pigs that are miniature pigs that have been genetically modified to be that way and selling them for about $1,600 a pop.
So that's for people's amusement, and they're continuing to, even though those pigs that are twice as strong have issues in quality of life. Hey, you think they care? They don't care,
no,
right?
Pigs supposedly are as intelligent as a 3-year-old human.
Well, we also have
I know, but
Yeah.
But the farmers
the
who are getting
no.
more meat out
They
of
don't
those
care.
pigs, they don't
Oh, they
care
don't
at
care
all.
about the
They're like,
suffering.
go ahead, edit,
Get
edit
more
all those
bacon. Let's have more
genes."
bacon.
And it's
Right.
happening with rabbits, rats, goats, even monkeys, which are obviously much more similar to us.
One day we're gonna make a super strong monkey, and then
And be screwed. Wait a
They're
minute.
called the Freedom
Hold
Puppy.
on.
Is there a movie about
I
that?
think there's I've heard of this. King something?
Planet something?
Planet. Yeah,
Those
planet.
damn dirty apes. Right. That's where this leads to. But no, actually, what's scarier is, and look, I've been saying this. The minute I heard about this, however many years ago, and they had done it for the first time to a,
Was a sheep?
to an ant or whatever they did it to, right?
Yeah.
I was like, the Chinese are, and no disrespect, okay? My family's Chinese. I got my kids.
Most of them are
Chinese.
going to vote for you.
Yeah, okay, but because it's more Wild West out there, okay. The Chinese, and there's a lot of incredibly well-educated Chinese, and with like less regulation and really educated people, they're gonna do experiments, and they're gonna at some point do it on humans. So, and this is just one gene that's edited,
Right.
okay, and that leads to super strong Chinese folks, and they care a lot about the Olympics, by the way. I mean, remember,
This is all about
I'm
gold
not
medals?
kidding. No. You think I'm playing, and you think it's offensive.
Cenk.
Hold on. Yao Ming, the Chinese government had the tallest Chinese man marry the tallest Chinese woman, and their baby was Yao Ming. Okay, so it's not like the Chinese the government is opposed to genetic manipulation, right? So it's not an ethnic thing. Of course not. It's a government thing, and it's a cultural thing. So the government is creating this culture where it's like, who cares? Let's try it, see what happens, right?
Oh, okay. So
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a person born in Chinese in another country is like, I love genetic manipulation.
And I think it's also about feeding people. I think it's, I think they've got a lot of people to feed in that country. And I think part of this is about if you can put more muscle on a domestic animal that we eat,
Well, we already do with
you need less of
chickens.
them. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
We don't do it through genetic
In turkeys.
manipulation, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we do it in so many other animals.
And we do it to cows too, really.
Yeah.
We really do. We
The
fatten
growth
them up.
hormones and all that
yeah,
stuff.
and then the last 6 months of their life, they just eat corn and stuff, which just gets them fatter, and they jack them up with the
All that is true, but I'm going to give you a warning one last time. The super strong humans, that's
next?
No, that's the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah,
Once they start manipulating other genes, especially genes that affect our minds, then we're in a whole different world.
This is why we need to have a conversation about this kind of stuff.
I think they can engineer smarter people.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I'm too dumb to know this.
Eventually.
You're from the old school. You're from the regular humans.
But you know what? You know what's going to happen though? The weather is going to get so insane. None of this is going to matter because there's just going to be typhoons all the time.
Well, maybe the super smart Chinese guys can figure it out
Could
after
they?
the genetic manipulation.
This would be really helpful.